So I got a question on the non-duality video I did about coming back from nihilism. I thought that was an interesting topic. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments. Love to hear from you guys. So, is non-duality basically nihilism? And it can be, is my conclusion after thinking about this for a little bit. I never really put the two together until now, but it is basically the same thing. Nihilism is the feeling that everything is meaningless, there is no knowledge, life is just not real, basically. And when you get into the non-duality way of thinking, it's pretty much the same thing. Your thoughts aren't real, your body's not real, you're not real, it's all an illusion. And the thing is, on some level, this is true. That is part of the awakening, realizing that you are more than your thoughts and your body and this world. But it doesn't end there. I was caught in this non-duality trap for a while. It really wasn't until I had a child that I realized I can't stay here. I have to move into the world and be part of the world and integrate these realizations I've had. Otherwise, they're kind of pointless. We have to awaken, integrate, and then ultimately embody these truths. So coming back from nihilism, I asked my soul, how do we come out of nihilism, or how do we come out of non-duality? And my higher self typically talks to me in symbols. So I saw someone peeking over a black wall, looking over. And this is how we get out of any shadow frequency we find ourselves in. Anytime we want to come out of a lower frequency and rise above it, that's a perfect metaphor. We have to look over this wall that we put ourselves in and climb out of it. So how do we climb out of our shadows? Putting it simply, we have to allow, accept, and embrace the things that we don't like and that are holding us back. This is where non-duality falls short. Whenever we say, sure, I'm not my thoughts, I'm not my body, I'm just nothing, I don't even exist, and we stay there, it's like you're not dealing with your shadows, you're not dealing with all your childhood trauma, you're not dealing with the world as it is. You're just ignoring it. And eventually you have to come out of that. Eventually, it might not even be this lifetime, you can stay in this non-dual reality, but it doesn't mean that you're embodied. I mean, just look at all of these spiritual teachers. Typically, they're just these fat old guys that can't move, they can't climb trees, they can't do anything. They just sit around and tell you that nothing exists and you don't exist. And because it's true on one level, they get away with it, because that is part of the awakening, is realizing you are more than your body. But then the other side, they totally ignore. They don't embody it. They don't bring it down to earth. Because it's easy to say, I'm not my thoughts, I am not my body, and just sit there and not do anything. And yeah, you can do that, but you're not creative. You're not creating the reality that lifts other people up. It's kind of a little tangent there, but getting back to embracing the shadow, getting out of nihilism, getting out of non-duality, first thing you have to do is allow it. Allow yourself to see the parts of yourself that you don't want to look at. Just allow it. It can be far away. It can be very slow. There's no rush to any of this. God has no time limit. He is infinitely available. So just allow this feeling of non-duality, or this feeling of nihilism. I guess I'll stay on that specific topic. So meaninglessness. If you allow meaninglessness into your life, paradoxically, that gives it meaning. You see how this works? Any shadow, if you're self-centered and you allow yourself to acknowledge that you're self-centered, you begin to move out of it. All your shadows are there for a reason. All of our human tendencies are there for a reason. We picked these things to come and grow out of. We have certain assignments. And the older your soul is, the more challenging you're going to pick an assignment. Just like a video game, when it's super easy in the beginning, you want to go to the next level, and then the next level, and then eventually you're almost at the end of the game, and it's going to be really difficult. And that's what you need as an old soul. You need to be challenged to transform these shadows for the collective, for everyone's benefit, including your own. These gnats are out here today. So the first step, we allow. Then we have to accept. Accept gets a little bit closer. We move a little bit closer to our shadow. Allowing is very much removed, and accepting, you get a little closer. You accept what you're dealing with. It's going to take some work. You're going to have to go through it to get to it, and that's fine. If everything was already perfect and there was nothing to do, there'd be no point in taking a body. There'd be no point in anything. That's why we come down into these denser realities, to have this dream play out. So then we allow, we accept, and then we ultimately embrace. And embracing, with the wall metaphor, it's when we start to climb it. We touch it, and we start to pull ourselves up out of it. We use the wall to get out, and we can see a higher perspective from the top of the wall. And this, again, can take a long time. There's no rush to forcing your healing. There's no rush to getting to these non-dual states. They're going to happen organically. The realizations and times that I have embodied, there's been times where I completely disappeared. I could only see myself through other people's eyes. It was the craziest, most bizarre experience of my life, and I realized, oh, we're one consciousness. It is unity consciousness. And then I had to get back into my personal self, and then I needed to begin integrating it. And it took 10 years or more to start integrating these realizations I had. I'm still working on embodying them. I'm still integrating them. And then slowly, my personal self, it begins to evaporate. It begins to disappear, but it's also still there. It's a paradox, and it happens organically. That's the problem with these non-dual and nihilist teachings, is that they're trying to force this meaninglessness when it comes organically, and it should be meaningless. That's the thing. If it had some kind of built-in meaning, you wouldn't have the free will to decide what you want to do with this life. You want that free will. You need the free will. You need the meaninglessness to be able to pick the meaning. So that's the paradox. Embrace the meaninglessness, and it gives it meaning. And then you're off to the races, and you can begin to move into your natural gifts. You have God-given gifts that grow out of your shadows and then move into these divine states that are non-dual, but they're also earned. They're not just given, and they're very organic, and grace brings them to you. There's nothing you can do to force these states. You can only make yourself available to alchemize and percolate all these feelings, which is why meditation is important, and all these systems, all these timeless teachings, there's a reason they are still here and resonating with people. So I hope that cleared up a little bit of my perspective, where I'm at. Much love. Have a great day.